plan. So, hi there, it's Ida, and I'm here with the other half of the Healing Hands duo. You met Jesse last time, and now we're here with the other half, Kevin.
Hello.
Yes, there's Kevin. Okay. So we heard a little bit about Jesse's story, right? And how
Yeah.
Jesse got involved into electromedicine and whatever. So can
Right.
you talk about your background and how she told me some funny story about how you met you, which I thought was really quite
Oh
funny.
yes. Yeah. No, yeah.
Anyway,
Definitely.
his background is engineering.
Electrical engineering, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I went to school for back in 2003, and I've been doing it kind of ever since. So that's kind of my background, and that really didn't. That's not really what got me to where I am today. Really, it kind of started out with illness,
Yeah.
disease. I
Yeah.
had a serious battle with what I found out later. Took many years was Lyme disease.
Both of you.
Both of us, yes.
Can you
Yeah.
spread it to each other? Because I don't know if people know that or not, right?
It's
You
definitely
both had
possible.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, it
It's
is.
definitely possible. A lot of experts are saying that it is possible.
And how do you spread it? Is it like how they were saying HIV and AIDS is spread through sex? Is it saliva based? Is it
It could
blood
be
based?
any one of those.
Oh,
It's not. We're not. We don't know for sure. We don't really know too much about Lyme disease. Period.
yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
we don't really know what it is we're dealing with fundamentally, but
Yeah.
it is. It's a nasty one, and it presents itself on in so many different types of chronic illnesses, right?
Yeah.
Especially autoimmune disease like multiple sclerosis or Crohn's disease or Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. All these things seems to be very how Lyme disease kind of presents itself.
So the
For me, it was
symptoms.
multiple sclerosis. That's
Oh
where
my
I was
God.
at. That's where I was at. I was kind of a pre-multiple sclerosis state back in I'd say 2015, somewhere
Wow.
around that timeline.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a mess. I was kind of losing control of my legs, losing control of my speech. Had a hard time kind of focusing and having conversations with each other. I was going blind out of my one eye. That was a mess.
Wow.
That was a mess. And I was going through the medical industry. I was trying to go the conventional route, right? I saw specialists all over Toronto, specialist after specialist after specialist, and I wasn't getting anywhere. None of them really knew what was really going on. And the only thing that they were doing for me was giving me prescriptions for medications, to manage my pain, to manage inflammation, to manage this, to manage that. That's all I was getting out of them.
So they do that to manage symptoms, right?
Just trying to manage the symptoms I was having. No one was interested in trying to figure out what was really going on.
Yeah.
But I did that for a better part of a year, bouncing from specialist to this doctor to that doctor. It was just getting out of hand. And I was getting worse.
And I heard it started with, like Jesse said, it started with like you had a bite here when you came back from Mexico.
Yeah, it was a Mexico trip, probably 2011, 2012. I came back. I had looked like a little bite on the side of my face.
Yeah.
Because we were out and we were in the jungle and we were all over the place in Mexico, right? So yeah, that's where it started. It came back and looked like I got bit by something, but I didn't really experience any issues right away. This happened months after. Slowly with like flu symptoms and all kinds of stuff like that, and then it progressed into
and how bad did it get? Because I also heard there was stuff to do with your mouth and your head and your neurology and
but that didn't come right away. That's when I actually decided to just leave the medical industry, the conventional medical industry, just walk away from it because I wasn't getting anywhere. And I decided I'm going to try and figure this out myself or I'll die trying because I'm not getting anywhere. That's what it came down to.
What Jesse said, that you guys were back and forth to the hospital so many times.
So many times. For me, it was every time I would go blind. Like I would lose vision in my left eye completely. So it would happen kind of sporadically. I didn't know what was going on. Jesse was worried about, maybe it was going to be a stroke or something, some kind of aneurysm that was going on. We didn't know, right?
Yeah.
So, and it just got to the point where it's like, okay, I have no choice but to try and figure this out myself. So I'm not getting any help from anybody.
And what did you figure out? Because Jesse said something to me about Lyme that I found really, really interesting.
Yeah. Well,
Are you okay?
yeah,
Did
I'm
I
fine.
hurt
No,
you? Oh,
you.
something from the table went
But,
kaboing. Anyway,
yes.
so what I want to say is that Jessie said that it is something that she thinks, and I hope I get this right, Jessie, that it's something in our bodies already, like cancer is, and that it's activated or like especially when your immune system goes down and whatever, it can be activated in all different kinds of ways, but predominantly that one.
Yes.
And it's so it's not really, and then she said it has a patent.
That there's a lot of, I mean, Lyme disease, this goes way back. This goes back to like the 80s, where they were experimenting with viruses on, I think going back in somewhere near Connecticut, where it started, Lyme, Connecticut. That's where it started, right?
Oh, is that why they call it Lyme disease?
Exactly. That's exactly why.
Yeah.
They were experimenting with viruses and all kinds of things on an island just off of Connecticut. And there's talk that possibly some of this kind of got let loose and got to the shore, and all of a sudden people started to pick it up, and then we started to see some illnesses.
We
don't know for sure.
It's not about ticks.
That is one way to spread it.
Yeah.
That is one way to spread it.
But how come that particular insect?
But it didn't start with a tick. It started, there was a lot of experimenting going on, kind of, there's a lot of that going on.
Okay.
These are just theories. We don't really know for sure.
Okay. How did you find out about these theories?
Actually, it was Jessie who talking to one of her coworkers at work, because I was going through all this stuff and she was still working. I was still working too, barely. And she met somebody at work saying, you guys have tried everything. Obviously you're not getting anywhere with the doctors. Have you looked into Lyme disease? So she brought that home, and this was something new for her, something new for me. And we started to look into it. We didn't really know what we were dealing with, but we were looking at the symptoms of it. And it seemed to match everything that was going on with me. So that was a major breakthrough to look at it from that perspective, because nobody knew anything about Lyme disease, but we started to look into it, right?
And so even today, now that you've looked into it, do you feel like what you had was Lyme? Like, is that still your conclusion?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
I think so, yes. And it's still not quite understood what Lyme disease truly is.
Yeah.
Really. And if you look at
it's not just about a tick.
No, it's much deeper than that. If you look into some of the top Lyme experts, like Dr. Klinghardt, for example, he's one of the mentors of mine early on. He seems to think it's some kind of retrovirus type of activation within our genome.
Yeah.
So it's something.
How does it get activated?
A lot of it is from the environment.
Are you going to say EMF?
Well, that is one factor.
So EMF is electromagnetic frequencies.
Electromagnetic fields, yes.
Oh, fields.
So Dr. Klinghardt, he actually when he treats or looks at his patients who they suspect Lyme disease, he won't even talk to them unless they've actually looked at addressing the electromagnetic radiation in their home. Like he won't even look at them.
That's amazing.
So he won't even, it's not, he's just like, you're never going to get better in that type of environment. It's pretty much what he's saying.
It's like he understands.
He's been dealing with Lyme disease for 40 years. This guy has some serious knowledge on this stuff. And he's seen patients come in, and this is obviously a conclusion that he's made, is that the environment that we live in seems to make this type of illness way worse. It seems to be what's activating it.
Okay. So
me being an electrical engineer, that caught my attention.
Yes.
That caught my attention.
Yeah.
So I looked at that and I started to go crazy. I'm like, okay, I got to look into this. I'm an electrical engineer. I can figure out how to deal with this stuff in my own home, right? So this is where it started back in, like 2015, 2016. It's kind of why I kind of started my own kind of side business with this.
Yes.
Right? So that's kind
What's the name of your side business?
Energy Alignment Solutions is kind of the name it goes by. But yeah, I'm kind of doing this just on my own kind of side business, just to help people.
Yes, he's been helping me.
I've helped a lot of people in the Toronto area try and
very cool
mitigate some of this stuff that's in their home, which is, it's not so easy because it's invisible. You can't see any of this stuff with your eyes, right? It's invisible.
So how do you see it? If it's invisible, how do you see it?
Well, you can measure it.
Okay, so how do you measure it?
You can measure it. There's lots of different meters that you can buy to measure some of this stuff. You know, it comes in the form of electromagnetic radiation that's that's wireless. So it's being radiated off cell phone towers and Wi-Fi routers, and of course your cell phone. You've got these Bluetooth devices. Anything that's wireless is emitting this type of invisible energy.
Does it
essentially.
go beyond that though? Beyond just wireless products? Like, are there things like microwaves that emit them? And I don't know.
Sure. The microwaves that we have in our home, yeah, those things are notorious.
Okay, and then what else aside from wireless technology? Is there more?
It's how our homes are powered up. So all the wiring that comes into our home from all of the the power distribution that goes out throughout the cities, that is bringing this type of electromagnetic radiation into your home, and it's going through our walls, ceilings, our floors. It's constantly radiating this type of electric
And
energy.
it's making people sick, and it's activating, like you said, this retrovirus, did you call it?
Well, that's what Klinghardt seems to think, that if there's something there. It's something viral that seems to be activated, and the environment is a big factor on how that happens.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is similar to what, like Jesse was talking about. Your environment is like key.
Yes.
To
100%.
So we really have to know what's in our environment.
100%.
Yeah. So the other, I see that they're here. They didn't call. We're going to have to go for now, but we'll pick this up a little later. Okay.
To be continued.
To be continued.